If you're trying to learn how to code right now, and you've had that quiet thought in the back of your head, did I start too late? Or did AI already make beginners irrelevant? You're not paranoid. But I think most people are asking the wrong version of that question. AI didn't kill coding jobs. What it really did was kill the old beginner path. And that's why learning to code suddenly feels confusing, noisy, and honestly, a bit unfair. I don't want to motivate you, and I don't want to scare you either in this video. I just want to sit with you for a few minutes and calmly explain what actually changed, so you stop blaming yourself for a system that quietly moved underneath you. If you spend any time online right now, Twitter, YouTube, Reddit, or anywhere else, you've probably noticed how extreme the opinions have become. Some people say AI will replace all developers. Others say nothing has changed at all, just learn the basics and relax. And if you're a beginner or if you're trying to learn how to code, both of those feel wrong. Because on one hand, AI can write code, but on the other hand, learning still feels harder than ever. So something doesn't really add up here, right? And here's the honest answer. I've watched this shift happen slowly over the years. Not in news headlines, but in how teams hire and what they expect from juniors. The problem isn't AI, and it's not you either. The real issue is that the entry path into tech quietly changed, and nobody really stopped to explain it. When I started out, the beginner path was pretty straightforward. You learned some basics, you built small things that barely worked, and if we're being honest, most of them really barely worked. But that was fine. You got a junior role, and a big part of your job at the beginning was learning. You were allowed to be slow, you were allowed to ask stupid questions. You were allowed to break things as long as you learned from it. Junior roles existed because beginners couldn't do much yet. That part is really important, and it's the part people forget. What actually changed is this. AI didn't suddenly make developers unnecessary. What it really did was to take over a lot of the simple, repetitive work beginners used to practice on. Things like setting up basic files, wiring pieces together, writing the same simple logic again and again, fixing small obvious bugs, the kind of work that wasn't glamorous, but slowly taught you how everything fits together. AI can do a lot of that instantly now, and honestly, it does it pretty well. So companies didn't stop hiring developers. What changed is that they stopped hiring people who only do those kind of tasks, the repetitive, dumb tasks. AI didn't remove developers. In fact, it did the opposite. It removed the training wheels. And this is where a lot of today's frustration comes from. Beginners are still told, just start learning, but the environment they're learning into is very different now. Today, companies expect more independence, better judgment, clearer thinking, and faster contribution. Not because they're heartless, but because AI quietly raised the baseline while nobody was looking. So when you struggle, you might often assume something is wrong with you. Maybe you think you're too slow or not smart enough, or that you somehow missed your chance. But the real issue is much simpler. The ladder moved and nobody updated them up. And then everyone acted surprised when people felt lost. There's a very tempting idea floating around online. It sounds comforting at first. Just use AI and you'll be fine. And I get why that sounds good. It feels like relief, but it's incomplete. And honestly, it can be dangerous. Because if all you can do is copy what AI gives you, run it and hope it works, you're not really learning how things work. You're just trusting that AI is right. And AI is very confident even when it's wrong. Here's the uncomfortable part. If you can't tell when AI is wrong, you're not being helped by it, you're being fooled by it. Real developers don't compete against AI, they supervise it. So, what actually matters now? Not typing fast, not memorizing syntax, not knowing more tools than everyone else. What really matters today is understanding problems deeply, having a sense of what should happen, noticing when something feels off, making decisions, and being able to explain why something exists. AI is really great at generating ideas and code. The thing is that AI is really bad at responsibility. And companies don't pay for ideas. They pay for judgment, ownership, and clarity. That hasn't changed, and I don't think it will ever change, to be honest. If anything, it has become more valuable with all these AI-generated developers out there. So no, learning to code is not pointless, but learning passively is. Watching tutorials without thinking, copying without questioning, letting AI decide everything for you, that path doesn't really lead anywhere anymore. Not because you're bad at this, but because the world moved. And here's the part I want to leave you with today. If learning to code feels heavier than you expected, it doesn't mean you're failing. It just means the rules changed. In next week's video, I will talk about something related but different. Not the industry, you. The things beginners worry about that feel important but quietly waste years of progress. Because once you stop carrying the wrong worries, this whole journey gets a lot calmer. If this helped you make sense of what's really happening, let me know in the comments. What part of learning to code feels the most confusing right now for you? Share this video with someone who needs to know the current AI situation. And if you're serious about learning to code in this new reality, like this video and subscribe. Not for hype, but for clarity. Thanks for sitting with me for a bit, you legend. I'm Pete, and I'll see you on the next one.